Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with German tater tot potato salad. That's right, believe it or not, we're making German potato salad with tater tots, which was not only delicious and possibly texturally superior, but we don't have to peel or slice any potatoes, which makes an already pretty easy recipe even easier. So I really did love everything about this. And really the only downside is that we may upset a few Germans. But you know what? That is a risk I'm willing to take. So with that, let's go ahead and get started by prepping our pan for our tots, which means covering a sheet pan with foil and then spraying it or rubbing it generously with some vegetable oil. At which point we'll transfer on one standard frozen bag of tater tots. And we'll go ahead and spread those out as uniformly and evenly as possible. And by the way, when choosing your tots, I usually go for the brands that have the fewest ingredients on the label. Okay, potato, salt, and oil is pretty much all we want in there. And then once those have been panned up, we'll spray the top with some oil before transferring these into the center of a 425-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes longer than the package directions. Since the key to success here is a very, very crisp, very well done tater tot. And that's it. While those are in the oven, we'll go ahead and make our hot bacon dressing, which not surprisingly starts by adding some sliced bacon to a cold, dry pan and then turning the heat up to medium-high. And what we'll do while that comes up to temperature is sort of break it up with a spoon or spatula. And what we want to happen here is that our pieces of bacon cook until the fat's totally rendered out and they are almost crispy. And as you may already know, there's a great visual clue for when that's about to happen, which we've made into an easy to remember rhyme. And that is when your bacon looks foamy, it's almost done, homie. Okay, so when your bacon looks like this, that means almost all that fat has been rendered out and you're very close to 100% crispification. And what we'll do once we reach this point is lower our heat to medium, and we will toss in our diced onion, and we will cook that, stirring occasionally for a few minutes in that bacon fat until it just starts to soften and sweeten up and turn translucent. And please note, we did not drain any of that bacon fat from the pan first, and that's because that fat is going to actually act as the oil in our dressing. So basically what we're doing here is a hot vinaigrette, except instead of whisking some vegetable oil or olive oil into some vinegar, we are going to be stirring some vinegar into this hot bacon grease to create what I consider the best hot dressing ever invented. So like I said, we'll cook those onions for a few minutes until they look something like this, at which point we'll stop and toss in a couple tablespoons of sugar, some freshly ground black pepper, and of course a nice big pinch of salt. And what we'll do is stir that in, and then still on medium heat, we'll cook that for about 1 minute, or until that sugar just starts to caramelize onto the bottom of the pan. But be careful, we don't want to go too far, since we don't want that to get too dark and give our dressing like a burnt sugar flavor. So about 1 minute should be fine, at which point we're going to deglaze the pan with some apple cider vinegar. And we will go ahead and stir that in, scraping the bottom of the pan as we do. And in case you're new around here, all deglaze means is adding some liquid to a pan, which releases all that cooked on goodness on the bottom, which dissolves into the liquid. And not only does that add a tremendous amount of flavor, but now we don't have to scrub our pan when we clean it. So that is what we call in the business a win-win. And that's it. As soon as our pan's been deglazed, we'll go ahead and turn off the heat, since we really don't want this to reduce. And at this point, our hot bacon dressing is ready to use, which is perfect since by now our tater tots should be done. And by done, we mean very well done, and hopefully very, very crispy. And here's what mine sounded like as tested with a fork, since as you know, fork don't lie. But another test these tots should pass is the old drop test. Okay, if we drop a tot, drop it like it's hot, it should bounce and not break. Okay, if it lands and just sticks there, it's not cooked enough. Okay, we really do need these tots to be extra, extra crispy and well done. And there's no way I can tell you exactly how much extra time that means in the oven, so you got to figure that out. I mean, you guys are after all the bots of your tots, but I'm going to say it's going to be at least 10 or 15 minutes longer than the cooking directions on the package. And then what we'll do is let these cool for about 5 minutes or so before we transfer them to a large mixing bowl, at which point we'll pour over our still warm bacon dressing. And then we'll take a big spoon or spatula and toss these until they are thoroughly and evenly coated. And because of that texture on the surface of our tots, which features all kinds of tiny nooks and crannies, it is really going to soak in this dressing beautifully. And after a minute or two of tossing, you're going to be wondering where it all went. But don't worry, there's plenty. And even though most of it's going to soak in, there's going to be no shortage of bacon dressing goodness. And then what we'll do after thoroughly tossing our tots, I think we should finish these off by mixing in a little freshly chopped herb, which in my case is some Italian parsley and some chives. And besides possibly mixing some of that in, you should probably give this a taste for salt, although it's probably going to be okay, since generally those tots come fully seasoned. And then once we're happy with how everything's looking and tasting, we can go ahead and serve that up, scattering those beautiful bacon bits over the top. Which reminds me, remember when every salad bar had that bowl of bacon bits near the dressings? Did we ever find out what that stuff was made of? I'm not sure, but I know it wasn't bacon. But anyway, that's it. Once garnished, our German tater tot potato salad is ready to enjoy. And if you're a fan of the tater tot, which I assume you are since you're still watching, I believe you'll find the salad to be spectacular in taste, texture, and appearance. And other than the fact that we're not using just boiled sliced potatoes, this really is like the classic German potato salad in every way. Except here we're enjoying the extra bonus of crispy, crunchy fried potatoes. So as you've probably gathered, I'm a huge fan of this alternative version. Although having said that, if you're not a fan of the potato tot, or God forbid potatoes in general, you should still absolutely make this dressing. And you can use it to make a beautiful warm spinach salad, or spoon it over a chicken breast or a pork chop. Or, and you did not hear this from me, you can actually serve it over vanilla ice cream like hot fudge. And no, that's not a joke. Oh, and as good as these were just eating them right out of the bowl, I did eventually serve some up next to some beautiful barbecued roast beef on a bun, which yes, is going to appear in an upcoming video. So please stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I really do hope you give this a try soon. So please follow the links below for the ingredient amounts, a printable written recipe, and much more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.